Apparently John's the boss. He said, come on, let's move. We're good? All right. Oh, turn it on. All right, good afternoon, everyone. We will call the meeting to order. Welcome to the December 15th meeting of Council. And the first order of business here will be the adoption of today's agenda. Don't everybody jump at once. Moved by Councillor Stoyle, seconded by Councillor Ledwell. Are there any additions to the agenda for today's meeting? Nada. Click, 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 click around the table. All those in favor of the agenda as presented, contrary-minded, motion carried. The first item on the agenda today, what is it? Would be the minutes and action report from the public meeting of December 1st. I'm going to entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented, moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Aker. Are there any errors or omissions? Only errors or omissions in the minutes, again, of the meeting of December 1st? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Contrary-minded? Motion is carried. Business arising from the minutes of December 1st. I would ask if you have anything that you reference the agenda item by the number attached thereto. How formal is that? Deputy Mayor.
Item 779, Your Worship.
779.
The Mount Pearl Lions Club Santa Claus Parade. And we mentioned this last week, at our last committee, our council meeting. And I failed to mention that it was the 60th anniversary for the Lions doing this parade, so I just wanted to mention that here today.
Yes, but that was faux pas on your part.
Yes, and I apologize to Mr. Coombs on that, and I didn't realize actually until after the parade. Because I said, you've been doing it ever since I've been born.
Yep.
So I said, how long has it been? He said, this is actually our 60th.
I actually guessed, and I said it was 50.
Oh, did you?
But no, it's 60 years.
And they did indicate, I think you gave a little report to council that they had 70...
They had 70
not floats,
entries
but I guess groups
largest
into it.
Largest number of entries ever.
And they collected, was it $5,000 in...
They collected $2,500 cash, and then Scotiabank matched it.
So I just wanted to... I wanted to acknowledge that.
They did really, really well.
It was a great parade, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. And the other item, Your Worship, that we spoke of at our last meeting had to do with the musical production of the students and staff at Mount Pearl Senior High. You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and that is number 794. No, that's not.
802.
802. Sorry, thank you, Councillor Level. No, this is
pointing out things he missed.
Yeah, and again, I just wanted to highlight that, and it was a great performance. And the LSPU Hall is a great little, it's a cozy little venue, and it was just fantastic. It's always nice to see the kids. I know O'Donnell is doing one, I think, later this year as well, and it's always good to see the kiddies out there. So I just wanted to acknowledge those two, but in particular, I wanted to raise the Christmas parade because I overlooked that the last time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Are there any other items stemming from business arising from the meeting of December 1st? Any other items? Hearing none, we will move along on the agenda. Council, we have no proclamations or presentations today, nor do we have public correspondence to be tabled at the council meeting, so we will move immediately to our committee reports. We will begin with infrastructure and public works.
Thank you very much, Your Worship.
Councillor Tessier, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to see you.
And likewise you.
First item on the agenda is a notice of motion. In accordance with Section 39 of the City of Mount Pearl Act 1988 and Council's public notification policy, take notice that I will, at a regular meeting of Council, under the authority of Section 278 of the City of Mount Pearl Act, bring forward a motion for revisions to the solid waste regulations. We'll have more discussion about that, I guess, when the time comes.
Details to follow.
Details to follow.
It'll be clearer next year.
That's right. Next item is we've got a couple of small change order requests. One is for the gymnastics facility. We're looking for modifications to an existing manhole to ensure proper sanitary lateral connection, and that comes in at a cost of $3,729, and I so move.
When are they going to change that word?
What's that? Manhole. That's a discussion for another time. This is a budget meeting, and I'm on my feet, and you don't want me to stay here. I could.
I'm just waiting to see who's going to respond to me. I'm just going to let it go. I'm just letting it hang for a moment, that's all.
Come on, the filter can only stay for so long.
We have the motion made for the change order for the gymnastics facility, $3,729. Moved by Councillor Tessier, seconded by Councillor Aker. Any other question or comment on that? It's going up, the building is going up very quickly, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Or is that just me? But it
No,
seems
I
like it's
think-
really going up fast.
I think, yeah, the exterior of it is looking real good.
Yeah, it's looking
Yeah.
sharp.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I imagine then we're still not only on budget, we're on time. Is that the deal here? You will all take note that senior staff just nodded.
Hopefully the weather
Yes.
stays away.
Yes.
Well, that's right. The good weather is helping
Depends on the
Councillor
weather.
Stalls, absolutely. Call the
right.
question. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried.
Next is another change order request for St. David's Park in order to reduce water infiltration and mitigate heaving and the subsequent asphalt damage at the tennis court area, which is closest to Ruth Avenue. A trench needs to be dug, proposed east of the playground and west of the existing tennis courts, and that's going to come in at $1,435.10, and I move that figure is accepted as well.
It is moved, seconded by Councillor Aker. Question or comment? Hearing none. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried.
And now we're tag teaming out.
Councillor Aker.
Thank you, Councillor, and your worship. For the benefit of council, we have some project updates, and we just spoke recently about the change order related to the service entrance related to the parking lot there for the camping facility, which is now, folks, 30% complete, and we expect the completion to be on May of 2016. And as said, we're on budget and on schedule. Looking forward to that opening in the spring. Under the multi-year capital project funding, I should say, we have Team Gushu Phase 2, which should see the completion of all the parking down there.
Yep.
They've made great progress with regards to removing some of the unsuitable material, replacing with suitable material, and some of the paving. Minimal amount has been done. That will be completed in the spring. We're 35% complete, and we expect, like I said, spring of 16. Before everything starts at soccer or softball or baseball, we should have it complete. And the balance of projects to have requests for proposals for engineering consulting services will soon be issued. That's related to work that we intend to do next year. So our engineering department and folks out there are busy now planning for the new year. And as you'll see, there is some news coming in the budget tonight, which we'll talk in more greater detail about road work here in the city. And the last item for council's benefit is winter maintenance, just to let everybody know that sadly, full regular night shift has begun. We're ready for winter, and if the snow stays away, we'll always be happy. And just a reminder to everybody, when you're driving around this time of the year, the roads are icy. Over the winter, there's bound to be plenty of snow down. Please drive slowly, drive patiently, and we'll get through the winter together. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Aker. Just very quickly, a question for you. For you or Councillor Tessier, I guess. Yep. All of these project descriptions, work in progress. The old Smallwood Arena, due for demolition. When are we starting? Mr. Randall, when are we starting?
We'll be tendering for the demolition and the remediation of the project, expected later this month or early in January. The work will actually start likely midwinter, late winter.
Okay, like February month sort of thing.
Yes.
How long will it take to actually do the demolition, do you know? 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 weeks?
Depending weather, because that'll be the biggest significance. If we get this started in mid-February, midwinter, it'll be likely in the midst of the winter season. They probably won't do too much. If the winter is such that they can get at it, they'll start it right away. I expect it's a couple of months for sure.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
Do down there too, if there's any.
Craig, there's a great story there. Money-making issue there on the history of what that place meant to this town for so long, and now it's coming down. We need a picture of it to preserve it like it looks, and because it's going to be so different for a couple of years. It's probably going to lay fallow for a while, and then there's going to be a new structure, I have no doubt, in the future there. But, you know, for 40 years, I remember when it was built. I'll say this to the journalist crowd here. It was one of the first stories I ever reported on from Mount Pearl. When I was actually with NTV, was the day they, what did they call it? They stuck steel. The first day that they stuck steel in the ground to build that what is now old arena. It was new, and in its 45+ year history, I don't know how long it's been there really. it meant an awful lot in this man's. There's a lot of great stories from a lot of great people in this community. Can tell you about the championships won, the championships lost, the celebrations, the tears in the old Smallwood Arena, and it should be preserved. And you got the local journal, man. Preserve it.
Maybe an artist rendering of when it was in its prime.
Oh, that would be good. I wonder who could do that. We would have pictures around to do that. Anyway, moving on. Sorry, guys. Committee reports, Planning and Development Committee.
Thank you.
Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, I'll start, and then the Deputy Mayor will take over. I've never heard Councillor Aker talk so fast in all my life, and I'm delighted to hear a little bit of nostalgia on your part. So
Well, thank
it's all
you.
good.
Yeah.
First, we have a number of items, Your Worship, that need to be approved prior to the Christmas break, and I know we're anxious to get to the budget, which we will do shortly, but I have to beg the indulgence, or we need to beg the indulgence of Council to try to get these things done. First of all, back in 2012, we had approved some regulations pertaining to heat pumps and the installation of heat pumps, and to try to put some controls in place for those installations. And in the last couple of years, we've had quite a number of requests for installations of mini split pumps, which are different entirely. Heat pumps are designed basically to heat an entire home, whereas the mini splits are generally applied on the side of dwellings and to heat only sections of the home or rooms, or a particular room, in fact. So some of the regulations that we had developed and some of the controls that we had put in place simply didn't really work in terms of the full-fledged heat pumps as they apply to mini split pumps. A couple of the changes in particular that I want to note is that we don't any longer require mini split heat pumps to be installed on a concrete base, or at least that's what we're proposing, but rather to be attached to the dwelling, the dwelling's concrete foundation. And basically, the proximity to the room that it's heating is really, really important with a mini split pump. So that's the reason for that. The other change, Your Worship, that we are putting forth is that we're not requiring annual inspections and certification of either a full-size heat pump or a mini-split heat pump unless there is a complaint. And the reason for that, and we've talked to a number of homeowners. In fact, the committee actually met with a person who had a heat pump recently installed, and the point that he was making was that a regular certification will cost, even if there's no maintenance at all, it costs somewhere between $100 and $200 per year. And if you have a new heat pump installed or a mini heat pump installed, the likelihood is that you're not going to have any issues at all for 5 or 10 years with that heat pump. So with that, we decided to amend our regulations, and we've made some changes to them. The changes are appended, and I'm recommending that that the committee seek the approval of Council for Development Regulation Amendment number 50, 2015 as attached. We ask that this be adopted and approved by Council, and I so move.
Moved, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Question or comment from anybody? This was such a highly controversial kind of little debate for a while.
It was for a long time, yeah.
So everybody's good with it?
I think so.
We'll call the question. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is carried.
Thank you very much. Secondly, Your Worship, is the issue of development above the 190 contour. We had asked the Tract Consulting Incorporated to do some work on that, in fact develop a comprehensive development scheme on the areas above the 190 contour so that we could lead to some fundamental development over the next number of years. That work is being undertaken by Tract. There were some changes that were recommended by Tract Consulting, some of which we agreed with and some of which we didn't agree with. Some of the things that they were asking to do were a little bit outside the scope of work that was being recommended, and we didn't think that they were necessary. But there are some changes that we think are completely necessary and we agree with. The cost of those changes will incur an additional cost of $11,140 plus HST, and we're recommending that these changes be approved by Tract, and we will need a motion of Council to support those changes, and I so move.
Moved, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Question or comment? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is carried.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. The next two items deal with OceanX, which are very well known, obviously, as both a shipping and trailer storage company. They're probably the largest in all of Canada. There are a couple of applications that we need to deal with pertaining to that. One by CMT Inc. on behalf of Seaforce Properties, where they want to try to do some work on 60 to 62 Glencoe Drive to try to accommodate a temporary trailer storage area. The area itself, the proposed development site, is located within the industrial land use designation, and it does meet all of the compliance requested or required for the municipal plan, as well as our development regulations. We do have a number of recommendations, and we always undertake quite a number of referrals, both internally and externally. And there's fairly extensive commentary provided, Your Worship, and to members of council pertaining to the approval of this, none of which, however, are particularly problematic. So with those things in mind, we ask that the Planning and Development Committee requests, rather, that the application by CMT Inc. on behalf of Seaforce Properties proposing site improvements to the property at 6062 Glencoe Drive to accommodate a temporary transport storage trailer facility for use by OceanX be approved, and that a development permit be issued subject to the conditions that were outlined, and this would be for a temporary use. Generally, I think previously we had allowed for up to 1 year. Now we're seeking approval for 2 years. And I so move.
Moved and seconded. Question or comment? Looking at the map of this area, this seems to almost look like a vacant lot. Is it? Or am I not seeing something that I should see on the map?
It's a subdivision of a lot, actually, yeah.
It's subdivision of a lot.
I'm going to let the director comment on that.
Okay, Mr. Yevchek, I'm just saying it because of how it looks on the map.
You're right. It is a subdivision of a lot.
Yeah, Your Worship, this land used to be in the ownership of Bell Aligned.
Yep.
What they did is they've actually subdivided their land and made it available for sale. And the company that has made the application for the temporary storage facility is the owner of it. And they, I believe, are bidding on getting this temporary facility for the next 2 years while OceanX decides where they're going to actually have their permanent facility.
So there is going to be a building here at some point, is what you're telling me?
Not with this current temporary permit, Your Worship.
Not with this 2-year permit, but
Correct.
down the road there's going to be.
Correct, Your Worship.
Just storage of the trailer.
Well, the property owner has indicated that that's their desire in the future, put a building on the site.
To do that. Thank you. Mr. Aker?
Thank you, Your Worship. Quick question on that. OceanX has another temporary site, do they not? That's closer up towards Powerstown?
We're dealing with it next, actually.
Next one coming up.
That's the next item.
So will that replace this one, or is it
No.
in addition to, or it won't? Okay. I'll wait. Thank you.
Okay, we'll call the question then. Anybody else with a comment or anything? Hearing none, all those in favor? Contrary-minded, motion is carried.
Thank you very much. Yes, Councillor Aker is absolutely right and fairly perceptive and has a good memory, because for 2 years consecutively, I think we approved an application on the part of OceanX for an extension for storage facilities on 1 Old Placentia Road. And they're asking again to have that extension provided, this time for a period of 2 years. Generally, I think what OceanX would like to do is eventually build a new facility, attain a larger piece of land, so that these temporary locations can be discontinued, obviously. If they're not to be discontinued, they'd need to do considerably different work, rather, and bringing one or the other of these sites up to par. I guess the good news is OceanX seems to be expanding to the point where they need not just one, but even a second temporary facility, which is a good thing. So with that in mind, subject to almost exactly the same conditions as had been previously approved by our council, we're recommending that the application by OceanX to proceed with occupying the entire parcel at 1 Old Placentia Road as light industrial use for tractor trailer storage and circulation yard be approved, and this approval would be granted for up to a period of 2 years, subject to the conditions that we've already previously approved for the last couple of years, and I so move.
Moved, seconded. Councillor Ledwell with question?
Yes. Thank you, Your Worship. I don't necessarily not support the motion here, and Councillor Walsh did do a fantastic job, of course, of explaining that this has come forward already twice. Now this is the third time in terms of a temporary site. I just wonder, just a question, I guess, for the committee and maybe for the director. At what point do we require some more landscaping to be done on this site, some more work to, as Councillor Walsh has said, bring it up to par? You know, this is now the third extension or the third temporary permit that we've brought forward. Just wondering at what point do we need some more work?
Permanent?
Yeah, exactly. When does temporary become permanent?
Well, I'm not sure that we have a definitive answer to that, Councillor Ledwell, but I think it's a very good question, and a question that we considered ourselves. I think, given the fact that OceanX has articulated in written form their desire to acquire larger space for storage of trailers and to put an office building on that site, we're assuming, in fact, I think with one or the other of these applications, rather than approve just 1 year, we are the ones that recommended that we approve it for 2 years, I think.
Rather than having keep them coming back every year.
Yeah, rather
That's
than
what we
come back
decided.
every year. But we're hoping that at the end of this 2-year period, certainly I would hope, and I think Deputy Mayor Locke would hope as well, that would end a temporary nature. Because you're right, some of the conditions and regulations that would be outlined for a permanent site would be substantially different than on a temporary site. Right now, a lot of the area, both the road network and the storage area, is unpaved, for example. So we would have different requirements, and then with a zero net runoff policy, we would have to have more accommodations made in terms of engineering for water runoff on site and all those kinds of things. So there are a lot of considerations to be taken into account on the basis of whether it's a temporary as opposed to a permanent location. We'll do that, and hopefully at the end of this 2-year period, OceanX will also be in a better position to determine whether or not these needs will be of a more permanent nature or whether they'll continue as a temporary site. Your Worship?
Okay, Councillor Aker.
I'm assuming that wasn't a closed debate, or that
No.
was more just to answer the question.
Yeah.
But I've talked to some of the neighbors up there, and I think everybody's quite willing to work with OceanX basically to see this through. But ideally, in the long run, if we all agree that a more permanent location somewhere in the region may be better than, say, this one here, which I believe is on Old Placentia Road. They've done a great job, I must say, in managing the dust by keeping the water trucks there. But the residents in the area tell me the biggest concern is more to do with the noise. And I know it's an industrial park, and you expect to hear some noises with regards to transport truck, but it's constant. And it's also at the very back of the property. Typically, if in a warehouse operation, the warehouse would be closer to the front of the property, more closer to, say, Old Placentia Road, away from the houses. But this is the use of the back area of the property. And while I support the motion to extend it for another temporary period of time, I don't think in the long run the residents would like to see too much or hear too much noise that's going on, despite the fact that it's an industrial park. So I guess if down the road we have to look at a permanent request, we're going to have to deal with OceanX in terms of the noise. I think they're doing a great job with all the other issues there. Thank you.
It's not just the noise, but I think there are other things as well. And I know that these do, being in the back of the site, as you already mentioned, this backs onto, I think, Dollard and also Talon, which are, in fairly close proximity. And there is a continuous flow of traffic back and forth. So, yeah, we're watching that, and we're aware of the fact that this can be a little bit of an annoyance and a bit of a nuisance. It is also, though, land that perhaps might otherwise be undeveloped or unused and not provide any kind of a tax base to us at all. It's not for that reason that we're approving it. We're approving it because I think OceanX have been very, very good tenants, and they've, as you said, they've done everything that they can possibly do within their control to try to mitigate some of the intrusion into the neighborhood. But again, it is a temporary location only, and that's what we're seeking permission for. We'll need to look at that more extensively and under a different lens if they, at some point, were to apply for a more permanent location. So with that, I'll put the question forward and then pass things on to our Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else with a comment? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion's carried. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just want to comment on Councillor Walsh's tie. Very nice tie you're wearing tonight, sir.
You know what?
It's very sharp.
I'm tearing a page from your book. This
Yes.
is in memory of my brother-in-law, Wayne Clark. It's the only thing that I got from him. It was a tie.
Really?
And I wanted to wear it today in his memory.
Well, it looks very
Like
nice.
You did with your gloves.
Yeah, very nice.
for the-
Yeah, very touching. All right, Your Worship, the next item
Okay,
that...
it's the season, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've been into the eggnog, haven't you guys?
Not really.
Not yet, no.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Deputy Mayor, carry on.
The next item for our committee, Your Worship, has to do with a development application by the property owner at 1174 to 1178 at Topsail Road, Auto Trim Design and Crown Rust. And they're proposing to construct a building extension to an existing single detached dwelling at this particular location. The property owners propose to proceed with a phase conversion of this existing single detached dwelling, and they want to convert it from residential use to a commercial use. The existing residential portion will be converted to office use, and the proposed rear extension will be for commercial garage use. When the conversion is ultimately completed, it will result in 2 commercial buildings on the lot with a total of 31 parking spaces. So the proposed phase-in construction here from fall of 2015 through to spring of 2017 is outlined here in Council's kit, and you can have a look at that. With respect to the City of Mount Pearl Municipal Plan 2010, this particular proposed development area is located within the mixed-use land designation. And with respect to our Mount Pearl Development Regulations of 2010, the subject property is located within commercial mixed-use zone. So this single detached dwelling is an existing non-conforming use, and the property owner wishes to temporarily, bless you, continue and expand the existing non-conforming dwelling, and then they want to proceed with this phased conversion that I just spoke of here. The residential portion will be changed to an office use, and as I said, the extension will be commercial garage use. Both of these are permitted uses within the commercial mixed zone. So when the conversion is completed, like I said, we'll have 2 buildings here. The existing building lot, Your Worship, however, does not comply with the building line setback development standard of 15 meters for the commercial mixed use zone. However, what they're proposing to build on is not going to increase the existing non-conformity. And according to our existing development standards and both our regulations, Council does have the authority to permit this development to proceed. And the application, as such, can be processed and is being processed as a discretionary use. And because of that, it required a public notification process. And as is per usual, a notice of this application was indeed published in the Telegram on the 21st of November of 2015. And as usual, again, the publication was mailed to 50 property owners and businesses, all within the 150-meter radius of the property. We also posted the notice to our website. We didn't receive any correspondence, so as a result, the public notice did not go ahead. As is customary as well, we looked for commentary, both internal and external. So we had considerations from Bell Alliant, Regional Fire, our city inspectors, our engineering services division, our finance division, our planning services division. And after considering all those inputs, the Planning and Development Department supports the property owner's request to undertake the phase conversion, subject to the 9 conditions that are outlined here. Our committee supported the recommendations of the department, and as such, we're recommending that Council supports the property owner's request at 1140. Sorry, lost the number. I got to scroll back up. Sorry, 1174. Thank you, to 1178. So we're recommending that what they're proposing be accepted, subject to the conditions outlined, and I so move.
It is moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Walsh. Question or comment? I only have one item that I would point out, and I do see it in the report, Deputy Mayor, but it's always a thing when we use the word phased in, it always raises a bell, or rings a bell, I guess we could say. It is covered under item E. Should the conversion and redevelopment of the lot from residential to commercial use not occur in accordance with the conditions or the time limit specified, the use of the lot will revert to its previous residential use, and the lot and building shall be reinstated to a residential standard. I accept that that's what we put in the report.
Right.
I also accept the unrealistic reality of that. We're going to have an unfinished commercial development on our hands if the phase-in program doesn't work.
Well, we're pretty confident
but,
that
you know,
yeah.
I am as well.
Yeah.
But I just point that out, that it doesn't.
Valid.
It doesn't appear to be realistic to say that what you're going to do after you've gutted the house or a portion of it, you get halfway through this thing and it doesn't work. The phase-in doesn't work. The business doesn't work. Somebody goes bankrupt. Somebody loses. that that property is going to be reinstated is somewhat unrealistic, I think. But
Crown had been around a long time.
yeah, I have complete faith in this particular one. I just,
Right.
you know. Anyway, anybody else
Valid
with a
point.
comment? If not, we'll call the question. All those in favor? Contrary minded, motion is carried.
Thank you, Your Worship. The next item is
Notice of motion.
a notice
I
of
have.
motion. Yep. In accordance with Section 39 of the City of Mount Pearl Act 1988, take notice that in accordance with Council's public notification policy, I will, at a regular meeting of Council, move an amendment to the text of the Mount Pearl Development Regulations 2010 that, if enacted, will, in Section 11.12, the Commercial General Use Zone Table, add a condition which provides Council with the discretionary authority to consider the commercial redevelopment of existing substandard lots along Commonwealth Avenue, subject to a number of conditions. The purpose of this amendment is to provide Council with the discretionary authority to consider and approve commercial redevelopment applications of lots that do not meet the minimum commercial use development standards of the GC zone along Commonwealth Avenue, subject to a number of conditions. The next item, Your Worship, is the development permit list for the time period of November 27th to December the 11th, 2015. The 6 are listed there, and I move that they be accepted as presented.
Moved, seconded by Councillor Walsh. Anybody with a question or comment referring to the applications that are the development permits listed? Hearing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried.
Let's move on to our residential building construction permits for the
How
time period.
are we doing?
Of November 30th to December 11th, Mr. Mayor, we had $1,505,900 estimated cost of residential building construction, and I move that the amount be accepted as presented.
It is moved, seconded. All those in favor? Contrary minded?
And for the same period,
Motion carried.
for commercial building construction, we had a total of $200,000, and again, I move that the amount be accepted as presented.
Moved, seconded. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried.
That's it for our committee, Your Worship. Thank you.
And that concludes the Planning Committee report. We are moving on to Corporate and Community Services. Councillor Stoyles.
Thank you, Your Worship.
By the way, guys, this is where the budget comes.
Yep, we'll start soon. Invoices for approval, we have a large number of those today. I think it is 42 items there. $4,332,957.34, and I will move all those.
Good Lord, they're spending like crazy.
Yes.
It is moved by Councillor Stoyles, seconded by Councillor Ledwell. Questions or comments on the 42 invoices for approval as listed in front of you? Anybody on anything?
The main one, of course, is the regional fire and amount there. For
402,000.
402,000 and
291,000 water.
exactly, and a couple of others there showing that we pay our share to the Regent for anything that we use. The loaders, yeah, and so question, Your Worship.
Okay, anybody got any questions at all on any of this? Hearing none, I'll call it. All those in favor? Contrary minded, motion is carried.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next item, we have tax deferral, low-income earners. We have 3 there. First one is $2,008.21. The second one, the roll numbers are there enclosed, $1,089.45, and the third one is $4,659.86. And I so move.
To go to, it is moved and it is seconded, I'm assuming, Councillor
Yes.
Ledwell. I'm just making an assumption here now as I move along. When we're doing these tax deferrals, I'm just going to ask Mr. Silver just very quickly. $4,659.86 is a tax deferral for a low-income earner. I am assuming that is cumulative, that is several years' worth?
Yes, it would be.
Right? And so every year that they have that deferral, like if they deferred, say, $1,200 in 2013, the deferral in 2014 would be $2,400.
Right.
Right? It's another 12.
Provided they continue to qualify, yes.
That's what I mean. That's because that looks like a big number, whereas the other ones look like a one-year number. Okay, I understand
And
that.
Well, the
once-
qualification test continues, so that's why you'll see it coming back as the amount builds.
Yeah, but they roll over in the amount builds.
And
okay.
once the property is sold,
Well, we'll get our money.
we will
yeah.
get our money
yeah.
back.
Yeah. Call it then. All those in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried.
The next item is our winter program, Qualities and Fitness, and just for information, their registration commences on December the 14th at 5 p.m. and for non-residents is Thursday, December the 17th, and the fitness program also is on the 15th, and that's for information only. And the other information is our Christmas hours for the Summit Center and for Kenmount Park and for the Glacier. All these will be on our website, and of course we will be closing at 1 p.m., 1:30 on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, and anybody is interested in checking out the times we're open and closed, they can get on our website and get in and find those, or they can call a member of council as well, and we certainly
Yeah,
will
it's
inform them.
interesting. Christmas Day and Boxing Day is a Friday, Saturday this year.
Yes.
So I just wondered if Monday, which would be for everybody generally the holiday that takes up Boxing Day on
20th.
Saturday, but we are going to be open that day.
Yes.
We're not going to be closed. That's good news. That's good. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, thank you.
And the last item that we have is the first night celebrations that we do every year, and it's going to be on at the Glacier, and it's taking place from 4 to 6, and this is a family activity that we do, free skating and that for our families, and it's a free event, and we encourage all residents in the city to come out. Our committee actually had a discussion on this, and with the new Summit Center, maybe we will switch back and forth. Maybe next year we will have free swimming instead of skating, because it's not everybody likes skating. So we talked about it this year, and we said we would stick with skating, and next year we're going to reverse it, and we're going to offer free swimming instead, especially where we have
That's
our
a good idea.
recreation facility. So we will be looking at making a change in that for next year, and maybe go back and forth every year, and because we would have to have
So hard to do the countdown in the pool, isn't it?
Well,
You're going to have to get on the diving board and do a big cannonball.
So welcome in the new year.
You'll be the ball drop.
I'll be the ball drop. Yeah. Do you realize that if I did that out of a diving board, there 40 kids that are in the pool would find themselves up in the stand somewhere. We can't be at that.
and that's it for us, and I will pass it on to my colleague to
Thank
bring in the
you.
budget.
Thank you, Councillor Stoyles, very much. I do believe everybody should have a hard copy. I believe so. And we're going to turn things over to Councillor Ledwell.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't know how I'm supposed to.
And Danielle, if you want to do some shoulder shots and move around, feel free. All right? This guy is a pro. He won't be bothered by you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm not sure how, as pro, I'm supposed to follow that visual that the Deputy Mayor brought forward.
Yeah, it frightens me too.
Your Worship, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen, as co-chairs of the Corporate and Community Services Committee of Council, Councillor Stoyles and I are very pleased to present today the City of Mount Pearl's 2016 budget. I would like to start by thanking Council and staff for their efforts and contributions in preparation of this budget, which is just one very small part of the City's much larger fiscal planning and monitoring process. This document also forms part of the implementation of our strategic plan that helps us to deliver solid results in each of our 4 key strategic priorities, which include providing an innovative, creative, and sustainable suite of municipal services and programs that sets us apart as a vibrant and independent city, delivering effective response to our ever-changing population demographics, focusing on attracting, retaining, and engaging the most qualified employees throughout our city, and focusing on ensuring an effective and efficient governance for our great city. As a city, we strive to deliver our core services to our citizens and businesses at the highest standards of excellence, while also ensuring that they are delivered at a fair and responsible level of taxation. Before getting into the details of our 2016 plan, I would like to highlight a few of the many significant accomplishments the city has been able to achieve in 2015. These include commencement of a significant leak detection program that employs the latest leading-edge technology to identify leaks in the city's water distribution system. This enables us to efficiently focus our resources when identifying and repairing leaks. This has helped us not only conserve water, but also substantially reduce costs for water purchased from the regional water supply. Committed investments in municipal infrastructure of approximately $13 million. Commencement of in-house design and administration for some streets and projects to streamline the process and improve efficiencies. Continued investment in snow clearing and other equipment to ensure the city is able to continue to deliver its core services at a high level. Commencement of a project to continue and substantially enhance the city's asset management capabilities to ensure our infrastructure needs are properly identified and prioritized so that we can ensure all current and future investments are focused in areas where they are most needed and they have the most impact. Continued focus on emergency preparedness with the installation of an emergency generator at City Hall, which also acts as the city's emergency operations center. Commencement of the construction on a brand new gymnastics facility that will soon become the new home of Campia Gymnastics. Continued investment in training and development of our strongest resource, our people. Continued work on detailed plans for a brand new passive park located at St. David's, which will also include the relocation of the cenotaph to the new site adjacent to the new Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 36. Continuation of our annual Waterford River cleanup on a regional cooperative initiative involving the Waterford Valley Rotary Club to protect and improve the overall health of the Waterford River waterway. Continued partnership with the Mount Pearl Paradise Chamber of Commerce and continued consultation with the Chamber and with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business on the city's budget. Continued commercial growth through development and redevelopment in the Kenmount, Beckland, and Donovan's business parks and throughout all areas of the city. And finally, continued residential growth in areas like Mount Carson Terrace and the Pearlview subdivision. With respect to private development in 2015, Your Worship, I am pleased to announce that our city has experienced a healthy level of investment by private developers, with $55 million invested in residential, commercial, and industrial construction to date. Once again, Mount Pearl saw growth in new business, with approximately 40 new businesses open to date in the city in 2015, creating 204 new jobs. Mount Pearl is now home to almost 1,090 businesses, employing over 15,300 people. We are truly appreciative of the contribution by our corporate citizens to our community and are proud to say that we are a net importer of jobs in the region. We are also very proud to say that we continue to focus on service excellence when delivering those core municipal services for which we have become known, like garbage collection and snow clearing. While our performance in the delivery of these services is second to none, we are again committed to continuous improvement in all areas of our operations. We are constantly evaluating the way in which we deliver our services to not only improve on the level of service we can deliver, but to also ensure we are delivering these services as efficiently as possible. As an example of service level enhancement, we recently adapted our bulk garbage collection program by supplementing our scheduled collections with collections on demand being offered to our citizens by appointment. This has allowed us to better meet the needs of our citizens. We are also looking at ways to help make recycling of textiles more convenient for our residents by partnering with the Multi-Materials Stewardship Board to introduce a door-to-door textile collection program and a waste audit approach to ensure better waste management. These, of course, are just a couple of examples of how we are striving to constantly improve our core services. It is on that note, Your Worship, that I would like to switch our focus to look more closely at our future plans to achieve our strategic objectives, and specifically the budget priorities for 2016. We began our budget process this year by looking at the costs of running our operation and deliberating over potential expenditures of over $65 million in 2016. As in prior years, there are a number of services over which the city has very limited control. These services are delivered regionally, which include the purchase of water, provision of wastewater treatment, transit and paratransit services, provision of fire protection, and the operation of a regional landfill and recycling facility. While rates for some of these services have increased, we are pleased to report that our overall budgeted expenditures for regional service is actually projected to decrease by almost $900,000. This is largely due to a significant reduction in water usage by the city, which is a direct result of the recent implementation of a very successful leak detection and repair program by the city. Also new for 2016 is that the city will now directly operate the Glacier Double Ice Complex, meaning that both revenues and expenditures for the glacier have been added directly to the city's budget. At the conclusion of our budget process, we are pleased to say that we have settled on a final expenditure budget for 2016 of just over $49.7 million, all without borrowing. When you factor in the addition of the glacier operations and include the investment funded from borrowing that was included in the prior year, we see a very modest growth in overall spending of just 1.6%. By not borrowing, we have set in place a fiscally responsible and sustainable budget, which has not sacrificed investment in our core services or in upkeep and renewal of our infrastructure. Your Worship, to settle on a budget that is fiscally responsible and sustainable is a very difficult objective. We have worked tirelessly in this budget to find efficiencies and select among priorities to ensure that we balance the need for investment in our services and infrastructure, while only looking to our residents and our businesses for what we need to run our city with this balance in mind. Your Worship, most of our funding for our services and infrastructure investment, of course, comes from taxation, which is based, as we know, on property value assessments. We recognize that many of our residents have seen an increase in the assessed value of their properties. At the end of our deliberations, we have settled on a reduction in our mill rate for our residents to 7.0 mills. We believe that this rate represents a recognition of the increased pressures on our residents due to the assessment changes, while setting a fair and reasonable tax rate that ensures we are able to maintain our infrastructure and our high level of service for which we are known. The key here is not only have we achieved what we feel is a fair tax rate, but we have done so while ensuring that our investment services and our infrastructure are sustainable for many years to come. Your Worship, as you can appreciate, investment and reinvestment in our core municipal infrastructure is one of the largest items in our budget. This spending is a little more controllable in that Council can choose between conflicting priorities and take a phased approach to repair, rehabilitation, and construction. However, the demands placed upon the city to address the infamous infrastructure deficit that faces all municipalities across the country continues to be extremely high. As in prior years, we recognize that if more revenue or other funding sources were available to the city, we could do more in a shorter period of time. But we also recognize a phased approach is necessary to ensure we balance infrastructure investment with an affordable level of taxation for our residents and our business community. In 2016, the city plans to invest $6.7 million in capital spending out of general revenue and gas tax revenue in various infrastructure initiatives. We again plan to supplement this investment through additional capital works projects to be undertaken with funding from both the provincial and federal governments. The city has committed to funding over $7.5 million in streets and related infrastructure over the next year, with the city's share being $2.3 million. As we indicated in our last budget speech, we recognize that more is needed than simply investing dollars in infrastructure. What is needed is a strong and systematic approach to managing our municipal infrastructure so that we are able to properly manage and plan for the maintenance and its ultimate replacement. To accomplish this, the city has invested considerable resources in the development of a comprehensive asset management system to ensure focused and effective investment and to provide strong information necessary for long-term and sustainable fiscal planning. In 2015, the city commenced a project that will enhance our existing asset management program and help bring it to the next level. Our focus will be on refining our asset condition assessment process and examining the tools that we use to track data on its condition, cost, replacement cost, useful life, and so on, to ensure that we are effective in helping to ensure efficient use of the city's resources. This project is ongoing and expected to conclude sometime in 2016. The end result will be an even stronger, more comprehensive asset management program, again helping us to properly plan and focus our resources and ensure sustainability. We also plan to continue to enhance the leak detection program that we commenced in 2015 and hope to achieve further savings on the purchase of water. Our 2016 budget includes investment in additional resources to help us more quickly identify and repair leaks in our distribution system. This, combined with an ongoing pilot project for commercial water meter replacement, will help us to minimize cost increases and reduce expenditures, as well as to achieve very aggressive water conservation targets. This type of program should also serve to counteract inflationary pressures the city faces each year and therefore help ensure our budget and taxation levels are sustainable. Excuse me. 2016 will also see us continue to improve recreational infrastructure for our residents, with the opening of a brand new gymnastics facility that will be home to Campia Gymnastics. Concept plans are now nearing completion on the transformation of the former St. David's softball field and park into a beautiful passive park. The area has already become the new home for the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 36. Work is expected to commence in 2016 excuse me, for the development of the remainder of the park, which will also see the relocation of the cenotaph from its current home on Park Avenue to the new park area in St. David's in close proximity to the Legion. Work is currently ongoing at the Team Guju complex just off Smallwood Drive, which will also help improve traffic flow and parking while ensuring the area is also on par with beautification standards throughout our city. Work will soon commence to remove the former Smallwood Arena, opening up more space for a possible future expansion at the Team Guju facility. We also plan to issue tenders for upgrades to the Reed Community Center to help make the look and feel of this building more similar to the brand new Summit Center. This will include the expansion of an expanded youth center. Our 2016 budget also includes investment in our arts community, with a planned renovation of the Admiralty House Museum Annex, which will be used by the Association for the Arts in Mount Pearl. Investment in other areas of the city's recreation and open space infrastructure will also continue, with further work planned for the city's linear trail network and various playgrounds. We also plan to invest in replacement of the many bleachers at our city's sports fields with aluminum bleachers, which will be even covered for some venues. Despite this very significant level of investment in infrastructure, we will maintain a debt ratio of just 7.3%. This is a sound fiscal position and one of the lowest rates of any municipality in the province. We believe this is critically important for us to ensure our spending is sustainable and to maximize the amount of money we are able to put directly into providing core services and maintaining our infrastructure. Of course, the key to sustainability is to truly consider the impact that our decisions today will have on our municipality for years to come, and we believe such a strong debt ratio speaks to the efforts we have placed in ensuring sustainability. Your Worship, we have also committed to continue many of the economic development initiatives which began in recent years. To serve our business community, we have committed to working hard to try to secure a new hotel for our city close to our business parks, as well as to fulfill our sport tourism strategies. Work towards this initiative has been ongoing since 2014, and we are committed to continuing our efforts until a new hotel is constructed. We would also like to continue to welcome input from groups like the Mount Pearl Paradise Chamber of Commerce and the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. We would like to take the opportunity to thank the Chamber and the CFIB and their members for participating in pre-budget consultations this year. These consultations always help the city determine the priorities for the delivery of municipal services. The CFIB has indicated to us that the regulatory burden is cited as one of the top issues for small business owners in Newfoundland and Labrador. We recognize the need to ensure our regulatory and permit approval process requires a good balance to protect the interests of our community while being effective and efficient so as to not unnecessarily burden businesses or developers. In our 2016 budget, we are committing to investing our development process to ensure that it is streamlined, quick, and efficient for our developers and our business community. We also continue to hear from both the CFIB and the Mount Pearl Paradise Chamber of Commerce that investment in roads and related infrastructure is critical for economic development. As we outlined earlier, we have committed to over $13 million in investment in infrastructure in 2016. This includes various upgrades to traffic lighting, asphalt, curb and sidewalk, water and sewer, etc. In addition, we have requested funding to be able to continue with the implementation of the now completed Donovan's Business Park concept plan. We are hopeful that work can continue on this initiative in the very near future. We have also allocated funding to increase investment in street and concrete repair and rehabilitation. This will help increase the useful lives of many of our assets, delaying the need for costly replacement. As indicated earlier, with higher revenue or additional funding, we would be able to do more work in shorter terms in areas like Donovan's Business Park, but we also must ensure that we live within our means and maintain fair and reasonable levels of taxation. Excuse me. I do. To strike this balance between investment and taxation, we will maintain all of our commercial and business mill rates, along with municipal development permits, licenses, and fees at 2015 levels. The city again recognizes the impact that increasing costs have on the more vulnerable members of our community. This budget includes the continuation of the senior citizens' 20% property tax discount for those in need and the continuation of interest exemption for all senior citizens who remain current with their tax payments. We have also continued our interest exemption and tax deferral policy for low-income earners who earn less than $40,000, recognizing the increased pressures that many of our taxpayers face each year. The exemption from payment of business tax will continue to all operators of daycares and personal care homes within the City of Mount Pearl. This tax break hopefully allows these operators to continue to spend a little more on the services that they provide in looking after our loved ones, and we are pleased to be able to extend this exemption. After determining the operating costs of delivering our core services and choosing a responsible level of capital investment for 2016, the City's expenditure budget for 2016 is $49,525,000. Your Worship, we hope the budget we have put forward will enable us to continue to effectively deliver our core services at a high level while strategically investing in our municipal infrastructure. To achieve this, we continue to review the way in which we deliver our core services and seek more creative and efficient ways to deliver these in ways that truly create value for every tax dollar paid by our residents and our businesses, owners, and operators. As mentioned earlier, there is so much more we could do with more revenues, but we have to be realistic in what our taxpayers can support. Now, Your Worship, as required by legislation, I am pleased to turn it over to Councillor Stoyles for the following motions.
Thank you, Councillor Ludwell. What a great job you've done, and especially first time for you to bring in the budget. And be it resolved that the City of Mount Pearl, in accordance with the City of Mount Pearl Act, established the attached tax rate for 2016 tax year, and there's 6 items here. And the first one I will mention, the property tax residential is 7 mils, was 7.4 last year, and it's gone to 7. And the commercial is at 12 mils, and it's going to remain the same. The water and sewer rates are the same, and residential and commercial. And the change, as Councillor Ludwell mentioned, is the school board rate, which went from $8 per student to $11 per student. And I so move.
It is moved and seconded. I'm going to ask that everybody reserve comment till we make the last motion. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Item 2.
Be it resolved that the City of Mount Pearl, in accordance with the City of Mount Pearl Act, approved the attached schedule of rates and fees taking effect January the 1st, 2016, and this is the attached list here, and I so move.
Okay, and everybody has a copy, I'm sure?
Yes.
All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Be it resolved that the City of Mount Pearl, in accordance with the City of Mount Pearl Act, approved the annual rate of interest of 10% to be levied on all past due taxes in accordance and accounts receivable. And I so move.
Moved, seconded, all in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Be it resolved that the City of Mount Pearl, in accordance with the City of Mount Pearl Act, approve the 2016 budget with operation revenue and expenditure of $49,525,000, and I so move.
It is moved, seconded by Councillor Ledwell. That is the ultimate motion, the motion to accept the budget as presented, and so it is moved, seconded. Question or comment? Does anybody wish to have anything to say on it at all at this point in time?
I will certainly...
Councillor Stoyles.
I will certainly speak to it. I know that there is one change in the budget regarding to water and sewer, and that is the fee, the cost.
This is under rates you're referring to here?
This is under rates, and no doubt there is an increase in the budget. I mean,
this is under water and sewer?
This one is under water and sewer.
Page 2? It's
under page 2, and
okay.
It's water service replacement.
Water service repair?
And
okay.
It's up to a $1,500 minimum charge, and
no, that's not a minimum, is it?
Maximum charge, right? And this is a fee for digging up when there's a water break on private property. And one of the things I wanted to say in this case, and I've dealt with a couple of them in the past, and I referred down to our staff, and if somebody can't afford to pay, especially seniors, and that can't afford to pay the fee of the repairs to get it done, we will meet with them, and they can put it towards the property while they don't have to wait. If they haven't got the money to pay it or borrow the money to pay it, they can come and meet with city staff and have an agreement with the city if they wish to do that and put it towards the property. And that's when we bring in, earlier this evening, when we brought in they can always come to the city, and we're willing to sit down and talk with them, and so they won't be burdened and still can have the repairs done.
Thank you. Anybody else question or comment regarding the budget? Nobody's got nothing to say about this budget? I was going to say, I can't believe it. Nobody's got anything to say about it. Great.
Yeah, but that's fine. If you
No,
want us
let's
to
do it here. Deputy Mayor.
We do before we call the question here. I want to congratulate Councillor Ledwell on a good job delivering the budget, as well as the committee and senior staff for their work. As we all know, and it's been in the media, that the budget process is not an easy one. There's a lot of asks here, a lot of stuff we would have liked to have done. One in particular that I mentioned several times in chamber here, Your Worship, is the development of an urban forestry plan. And council was supportive of that. Just it wasn't.
We still are.
You're
I
still
still
supportive.
believe it's a great program.
Right. But again, being fiscally responsible and looking at priorities this year, we agree that some other things had to get done this year. So we will be looking probably to next year or future years to do that. But overall, it's a balanced. It's a balanced approach. A lot of time and effort goes into this. I like the money that we're investing in our asset management, which I think is critical. I like the fact that we're investing into existing assets that we have in the city. One is the linear trails. We have 60 kilometers of trailways in this city, which is a huge asset that people would love to have right across North America. They're showing their age in some places, so council, I think, very wisely has decided to invest in that because they're very well utilized. I like the investments that we're putting into our sporting facilities, again, to polish the pearl, if you will, to
I like that line.
To polish the pearl and brush up on
pearl.
On all the services, all the infrastructure that we already have in the city. I know it requires a modest increase in taxation, but the reality is the cost of doing business has increased over the last year. Residents will know that themselves in terms of their grocery bills or the cost for salt or the electricity or what have you. The city is no different. So I think it's been a very responsible, well-balanced budget. And again, I want to extend congratulations to our committee, to my fellow council members, and to senior staff for helping bring this budget forward here tonight. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, very much. Anyone else? If not, I'll conclude. It's interesting to note, just before we call the thing, and I suppose I should leave the chair to do this, but the reality of it is we're looking at, while we see a mill rate reduction here, from 7.4 mils down to 7 mils, let's not kid ourselves. We do not do things in the dark. We do not blindfold our taxpayers. We're talking about a 5 to 7% increase in cost to our taxpayers overall as a direct result of the implementation of this particular budget. Almost, when you think about it, unavoidable. Our statutory requirements alone for the things that we have to pay for, as Councillor Ledwell pointed out, when we deal with the issues of cost for regional services, we deal with the issues of the reality of our staff, that we negotiate contracts. We have increases to deal with. Prices for everything, as the Deputy Mayor points out, goes up. It is the same for us. There's one thing I want to express that relates to my disappointment in the budget. Can I do that? I realize that's all right. Because it's not there this year. And I don't know if anybody noticed it quite like I do, but I'm sure everybody did. But it is mentioned in some of the key messages that our communications people have given us about the budget. And here's the line. And it's disappointing to say it, and yet it's not, but it's a little. This budget is about prudent investment in core infrastructure and services. It is sustainable with no cuts in service. Now that's positive. We're not cutting any services, but it's about prudent investment in core infrastructure and services I got a feeling 2016 is going to be the first year in a lot of years that we're not building something. Right? That we're not moving on to something. We'll finish the gymnastics center and whatnot, and then I think we're going to have, for this year, and I think next year as well, we're going to see that our capital, that the money we're going to spend on capital and infrastructure is going to be completely on renewal. You know, there's talk of what we're going to do, for example, with the trailways this year, how we're going to replace the railings on bridges, how we're going to take all of those old wooden benches from all of our sports fields and turn them into new aluminum benches that require less maintenance, that are safer. I hope that residents are going to see over the next year that kind of improvement in, hey, look, they just painted that. They just put something on, they just improved that. You're going to see a lot of that in the city as opposed to punching out new roads, building new buildings. But I love building stuff. And I think we all do, right? We love building stuff. But we've got to do this right. And the fact that we're not borrowing, we're in a lot, you know, we need to be thankful for that, right? The fact that we're not borrowing and adding to our debt, at least not this year, please God, not in years to come. Very positive budget overall. I congratulate the committee and council. I know how hard you worked. I wasn't here for a lot of the budget this year and a lot of the discussions and a lot of the fighting, which I kind of missed a little bit because there's always some of that goes on. Everybody has passionate projects. Maybe you got it done more efficiently because I wasn't here. You never know. Did get in on the, as they say, did get in on the last period of the game, though. And it continues. Everybody did it with great passion. And I want to congratulate all of council and all of our senior staff, not only because they put in such a tremendous amount of work, but that we call for facts and figures sometimes almost in the middle of the night, you know, and you expect them to have them in half an hour. You know, how come we need these numbers? Yet they always perform well for us and do a great job. I think that this budget is a good one for us. I know we're going to get a little criticism. I hope everybody is prepared for that because of the reality of the economic climate we're in. I think we're all going to get a little bit of that. But it has to be recognized as well that we have to maintain the financial and fiscal integrity of the city if we're going to be able to maintain the services that our taxpayers demand of us, and that, quite frankly, our taxpayers are so very, very proud of. This budget, I believe, meets all of those requirements. So congratulations to all of council on that. And with no further comment, if there's none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of accepting the 2016 budget as it has been presented by Councillor Stoyles and Councillor Ledwell indicate by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. We have no one saying nay. Budget is carried. Thank you, everybody. And thank you to senior staff. I do believe, everyone, that concludes committee reports. We're going to move on then to new business in our proper order. Deputy Mayor?
I don't have a lot. I did mention the play at the start, and Councillor Walsh said, "What are you doing? New business now?" No worries, no worries. I still like your tie, and I just.
Yeah, but I was going to let him away with it, John. We were just going to let him go.
Anyways, I don't have anything to bring forth other than I just want to thank my members of council for another great year. I enjoy working with each and every one of you, as well to our senior staff for all the work and tireless hours that the mayor just indicated you guys put in. You're not told enough, I don't think, but we do appreciate all your efforts, and you guys help make this city run so smoothly. I just want to extend a sincere Merry Christmas to you all, and to all of our residents at home, and all of our employees here at the city that do such a great job to make this city function as smoothly and efficiently as it does. So Merry Christmas to you all, and I wish a great year in 2016 to each of you and your families. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, sir, very much. Councillor Stoyles.
Thank you, Your Worship. And as one of the longest-serving council members, I want to say what a pleasure it is to serve on this council. And when you look around the table, and we all have different views on certain things, but we all come together for the betterment of the city, and it's so good to sit around a table where we all get along and we work to do what's better for the city. And I'm certainly pleased to say that I'm happy to sit around the table with such a great group of people and senior staff working together for the betterment of the people. And as I said earlier when we brought the budget down, and we talked about the tax deferrals and that. And I'm always concerned and about our low-income people and our senior citizens, especially when, you know, some of our infrastructure is getting older. People are living in their houses longer and longer, and they have repairs like water main breaks and water breaks and sewer breaks, and we are able to offer these tax deferrals to our seniors and to low-income residents and have a tax deferral, and that's, I'm so happy to see that we can do that, and we all work together to achieve that for the betterment of the residents of the city. And I too want to wish all my colleagues Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But I do have one other item that I wanted to mention, and a lady that lived down by the Legion, Mrs. Eels, passed away last week, and actually I didn't even know she had passed away until Councillor Aker had mentioned it, but I went up to her funeral, and I've known her through the church at Mary Queen of the World for a number of years, and I learned when I was at the funeral that her son had passed away just a month ago. So both of them. And
I did not know that. I knew about her death. I didn't know about him.
Yeah, Karen was the young man that fell at the bus stop and had a heart attack and dropped dead, and there was a number of media stories about him.
Oh.
He was only 52, I do believe, and anyway, so both of them are gone, and I wanted to pass along my sympathy to the family. I know she had, I think 5 other sons, and that all live here within the region, and I wanted to pass along my sympathies to them.
Thank you very much. Councillor Walsh, any new business?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Your Worship. I didn't speak during the budget consultation, but I do want to congratulate Councillors Ledwell and Councillor Stoyles and all members of Council. We just unanimously approved almost a $50 million budget. I think it's a very responsible budget, and I think Council deserves a lot of thanks and for that. But I also want to point out that on a day-to-day basis, it's our senior staff that really makes this organization run efficiently and effectively, and not just during the budget process, but throughout the entire year. So thank you as well, all of you, for the contributions that you've made to the budget process and to the
various... If we're too nice to them, they're going to think we need them.
I know. Well, we do need them, actually.
Do not encourage them. Do not encourage them.
No, I do want to thank them, Your Worship, because I know they make an enormous contribution to this budgetary process and to our operations on a daily basis as well. We, as I said, approved almost a $50 million budget. What people don't understand is that we probably, in the course of doing that, we also had to cull approximately $10 million of various programs and operation and service requests from staff, and of course all things that Council would like to do as well. So we can do it all and continue to be as fiscally responsible as we claim to be. But it was, I think, a very fair, reasonable, and responsible budget, and I applaud the efforts of everyone in bringing that forward this evening. I also want to take the opportunity to extend season's greetings for a very, very Merry Christmas to all of our staff, all of our taxpayers and residents of Mount Pearl, to the members of Council, and also for a very healthy and prosperous new year in 2016 as well. So the very best to all of you. Thanks very much, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Councillor Tessier?
Yep, a couple of things, actually. Gosh, everybody's all being all nice, but I got to start off with something not so good. We did have a weather system probably 2 weeks ago, not quite 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
There was some issues with cars parked on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
There were some issues on several streets with cars parked on the streets during the storm, after the storm, overnight. That makes it really challenging for our snow clearing equipment to properly clear our streets. We do it not just to make it easier to maneuver through the streets, but for safety reasons as well. So we had several vehicles that were left on the streets overnight, and of course our regulations are between 1 a.m. and 8 a.m. You can't leave your vehicle parked on the street during a weather system and 12 hours after. It is imperative that people recognize this and follow those regulations in order for us to properly clear the streets in Mount Pearl. So I would implore the public to definitely, especially over Christmas, we understand it can be challenging. Winter is definitely coming up on us. We just got to be very mindful of that. Our Public Works Committee and, of course, all of Council, I'm certain, would like to extend sympathies to the family of Thomas Hickman. In 1979, Mr. Hickman founded what became known as the Merco Group of Companies, and as we know, Merco was the general contractor for our Summit Center. So we want to extend our sympathies to his family, his wife Margaret, his son, his daughters. There was one line in his obituary that I thought was really, really beautiful, and it was something that we could probably all strive to live by. It said he got up each day with a smile and looked forward to what each day would bring. I mean, how great is that? When you wake up every day and you're happy to wake up, that's just outstanding. So anyway, our sympathies on behalf of Councillor Aker with Public Works, and of course I'm sure all of Council and all of our staff. We want to extend our sympathies to Mr. Hickman's family. Great job on the budget, guys. I bet you nobody's happier than Director Silver that it's done. But we're really, really proud of how much work goes into this, because it is a lot of work, and we all know it's line by line and an arduous task, but it's an important one, and I just want to acknowledge the committee and, of course, join my colleagues in wishing everybody, residents of Mount Pearl, all of our staff, everybody who works with the city, everybody, all of our service groups, everybody who makes any effort at all to make Mount Pearl the beautiful place that it is to live and to work. I want to wish everybody a very, very Merry Christmas, and I hope that 2016 has been or will be just a spectacular year.
Amen. Thank you to that. Councillor Aker, any new business?
New business, Your Worship. Really some old business from here today, and I want to congratulate Councillor Ledwell and Councillor Stoyles for bringing in the budget. A lot of hard work went in on behalf of the committee, as well as from my colleagues here on council, as well as many of the staff, including the senior staff from the city. The cost pressures are enormous, and I think this is the right time to sort of settle back and focus on asset management and our existing infrastructure to make sure we don't build out too much and forget about all the good assets and the good services that we have.
Yeah, time to go back and repair a little.
I think we can justify some of this to our residents, but I think they also have to understand that, you know, when we look at the salaries and wages that and the increases that we have to pay out, and we look at the cost of regional services, and we're going to do that by not reducing any services, and we're going to do that without borrowing any money, which means we're not pushing it off to the next generation, which frankly would have been the easiest thing to do. So congratulations, folks, and everybody around on a great budget, and I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and your family. Thank you.
Councillor Ledwell. Thank you, sir. Councillor Ledwell.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to be very brief, so I'm not sure my voice can take another couple of minutes talking.
You suffered through that one today.
I suffered through that one a little bit, but I made it, so that's the main thing. I just want to thank and congratulate council and senior staff for all of the hard work on the budget. Certainly appreciate everybody's wishes. And I just want to wish a Merry Christmas and a very happy and successful 2016 to council, our senior staff, all of the staff of the City of Mount Pearl, and certainly all of our residents as well. Best wishes to you and yours.
Thank you very much. A final comment then from me before we adjourn. Your municipal tax dollars at work budget 2016, this document that I have here, which contains not only the speech that was delivered by Councillor Ledwell, it also contains our vision, mission, mandate, values, statements, but one of the most important pieces of literature we always turn out every year and have for year after year now, and I don't know when we first started it. It used to be just one page one time. Now it's a little booklet. Was where the money comes from and where the money goes. And we used to send that out with our tax bill in January. I don't know that we do that anymore. I'm not sure if we did that last year. I think we've kind of put it now in favor of of putting all of this on our website, and I'm assuming that will be the case with this. I don't know how many of these particular documents we print now or are available, but there are some of these that I think we should, and they should go. They should go to our Chamber of Commerce. They should go to some of our nonprofit groups. They should be available on our front desk. Anybody that wants a copy of it, we should be able to provide it, as well as having it on our website. Again, it is a very, I think, effective information tool in the hands of our residents to understand where the money comes from, because it's their money, and where it goes. It's their money we're spending. And this is this one in particular is a really nice job this year, and I know it's based identical to the one last year, but you also got some nice pictures in it this year, guys. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out, Councillor Ledwell, on your behalf, that this is a great, valuable tool in everybody's hands. I want to join with all of council to wish you and yours, everybody, season's greetings. Had the pleasure of going to VO and recording some Christmas greetings. Did everybody get there to record a Christmas greeting? What? Not everybody has been there yet? Did it for NTV and whatnot, and we've got our Christmas greetings out there for all of that, so it looks like we're ready to go. I hope that we're not going to get another meeting before Christmas, are we? So we're going to be done till the new year. So ladies and gentlemen, all the best. We'll come back in 2016 full of vim and vigor and ready to carry on for another successful year for the city of Mount Pearl. Entertain a motion to adjourn, moved by Councillor Tessier. Ladies and gentlemen, for 2015, we stand adjourned.